Hello students, this is Dr. Z, and this is the second video on our study of the life cycle of butterflies. As you will recall, the last time I was with you, we talked about the life cycle of a butterfly, and of course it starts with the mother laying eggs on a leaf, a special leaf called milkweed, and then that egg hatches to develop a caterpillar, and then the caterpillar creates a beautiful chrysalis, as we see here, and then that chrysalis eventually becomes a butterfly, and then the mother butterfly lays more eggs and starts the whole life cycle all over again. So it was about a week ago that I showed you the caterpillar from a monarch butterfly that I was able to get out in the woods, and at that time it was just a small little guy, and over the past week he has been eating and eating and eating, and then last night, this is about 7 days later, he eventually, I have a habitat here that I keep him in, and last night he and he was about that big already, he slowly crawled up to the top of the habitat here, and he was actually on the roof upside down, and over a few hours as I was watching him, he was actually beginning to attach his tail, the back of him, onto the roof of my habitat here. You could actually see some sort of white material, kind of like silk that spiders weave. He was weaving that material and attaching it to the top of the habitat, and then a few hours later he kind of hung down from the top with his head on the bottom, and he's been doing that. He was doing that all night, and I think if I get the camera in place I can show that to you. Let's see if we can do this. I'll bring him over here. And I'm going to try to shine some, whoops, don't want to disturb him, shine a little light on him so you can see him better. You see him there? So he's actually kind of right now in an O position. He kind of looks like an O, but earlier in the day he was hanging completely down, kind of like a candy cane shape. And this tells us that he is now getting ready to begin that incredible change in which he's going to turn first into a chrysalis, and then that chrysalis is going to turn into a beautiful monarch butterfly. Okay? All right, let me get him back here so we don't disturb him too much. Okay. Now, the last time we were together, we talked about this. I'm going to put him down. Him or her, I don't know if it's a male or female or a boy or girl yet. The last time we were together, we talked about this incredible word called metamorphosis. And that is this incredible change that takes place here where a caterpillar turns into a butterfly. Caterpillars and butterflies don't look anything alike. And this is a real marvel of nature that this change can take place. Now we also learned another word, larva, that the caterpillar, that's another word for the caterpillar. It's called a larva. So those little caterpillars were actually the larvae of monarch butterflies. And here's another word that we've been talking about, chrysalis. And hopefully that caterpillar, it's still a caterpillar hanging upside down there, within a day or so is going to actually turn into a chrysalis. And another name for chrysalis is pupa, okay? Now, here was an interesting thing. Most animals, like us, we have our skeletons inside of our body, right? So our muscles and skin are on the outside, and all of our bones are on the inside. Now, caterpillars and a lot of other insects are different. They actually have their skeleton on the outside of their body, so that when caterpillars grow and they get bigger, they get too big for the skeleton, so they shed it. It goes away and they develop a new skeleton. So this process of growing, shedding the exoskeleton is called the exoskeleton. Shedding that exoskeleton, that can take place 2 or 3 times during the course of a butterfly developing. Now, you recall, I also showed you last time some little larvae or caterpillars from a tiger moth, right? And it was interesting that they also have an exoskeleton. Their skeleton's on the outside, and I was actually able to collect some of that exoskeleton as they shedded it, and I'm hoping you can see this. Remember how beautiful those caterpillars were? They were kind of black and orange. They had some white and red. Well, you maybe can see here that this almost looks like it's still part of the caterpillar, but it's not. It's just part of the body that those caterpillars shed as they were growing, okay? So they're very interesting. They're kind of bushy, just like the caterpillar is very bushy, and has some red, a little bit of red, white, a lot of orange, and a lot of black color to it. So these are the exobodies, then, the exoskeletons of the larvae or caterpillar of the tiger moth. Now, remember I told you the behavior of the moth and the butterfly was really quite different. The caterpillars, the monarch caterpillars, were pretty quiet. They ate and ate and ate, and they'd stay at the bottom of the habitat, whereas the caterpillars from the moths, they were so busy running up and down the cage all the time, and they'd go up and walk around the ceiling, and then they drop down, and they get up and do it again. They're very, very active. And then suddenly, about 3 days ago, nothing. Everything stopped. So I went in and looked, and guess what? They had already formed their chrysalis. And the chrysalis of the tiger moth is really quite different from the chrysalis of the monarch butterfly. Whereas the monarch caterpillar went up to the top of the habitat, attached itself and hung down, and now it's going to form its chrysalis up there. What did these guys do? They found a nice comfortable leaf, and they made their caterpillar on the bottom of the habitat in a leaf. And I'm going to try to show you what this looks like. Here's a leaf, and right in the side of it is one of their chrysalises, and they're not nearly as pretty as the monarch, okay? I don't know, can you see that at all? Not much light today. So it looks just like a, I don't know, piece of brown tumbleweed or something. Not real pretty, but that in fact is the chrysalis of the tiger moth, okay? So I've got about 4 of these now, and they're in another habitat. I have the 2 separated, and hopefully we're going to see in a few days that the tiger moths are going to come out of the chrysalis and be full grown moths. And then I'm going to keep tabs on the monarch caterpillar, and as soon as he forms that beautiful chrysalis, then I'm going to come back and show you that, okay? So hope everything's going well for you guys, and I'll be back shortly with some more information on the progress of the life cycle of the monarch butterfly and of the tiger moth, and we'll see how everything is going. Okay guys, have a good day.